And in the last local elections, we got as many councillors elected as we had done in the entire last 40 years of the Green Party. So in one election, we doubled our number of councillors, more than doubled it. No, it's taken us 40 years to get where we were. And then in one election, we doubled it, which is absolutely amazing. You know, go back a little bit further in European elections, remember, we beat the government. We beat the governing party. We finished ahead of the Conservatives in the European elections. We're now polling ahead nationally of the Liberal Democrats in many polls, up at 7-8% as the third party. You know, Tories, Labour, Greens. So we are really, really making waves. And I keep doing interviews and I keep, getting asked, everyone gets this green stuff, people say. And of course we say back, well, they don't quite. And there's a few things, they might be saying the right things, but actually it's about the action. But people are getting it. And there's been a phenomenal kind of surge. Our membership is as high really as it's ever been and goes on increasing. So this is a great time. But we also know, as you will know only too well, that you win council seats not by national opinion polls or not by how well we're doing in the European elections. It's very much the bread and butter stuff of local community politics. It's the leaflets through doors and it's the knocking on doors. And when we won all those seats back at the last local elections 2 years ago, it was in 90% of those wins were areas that we were targeting and had been working in for the 2 years before. It didn't just come out of thin air. It was all the work that was put in. It was Green Party members and activists that make that happen, not just some kind of rise in the opinion polls. So we're on a roll, and I know that you're doing all the stuff that's absolutely right in Cambridge. Ed's told me about Matt helping to oppose the relocation of the airport radar tower directly next to Abbey residents. Hannah, I know you've been campaigning to protect green spaces, particularly student accommodation and St Matthews, and getting the local bus shelter fixed. Naomi providing financial advice for those affected by COVID. Jeremy, you've been raising awareness and challenging Anglian Water for pumping sewage water into the river. And I know you're all poised, 20 points behind in 2019, but it's gonna be really, really close. And I think, you can really do this. I am a councillor in Lambeth. I lead the oppositional Lambeth Council, but in 2014, we got our first councillor, #1 in Streatham. And now we're the official opposition 6-7 years later. Well, actually we did it 3 years ago. So 4 years later, we became official opposition. But in my first election here in St Leonard's Ward, I recruited a guy called Scott Ainsley, you may have heard of. He became our MEP for a brief while for London. But I recruited him to the party and then got him to stand. And we went and leafleted the local area together. It would take us 6 days of leafleting 7 hours a day to get our leaflet out. And we lost a lot of weight, which was great, but it was exhausting. And we just saturated the area with literature. We got a great team together and did the canvassing. But come polling day, we came from 4th place to kind of first, but being a 3-member ward, Scott got over the line and got elected as our first councillor, and I missed out by 40 votes. That was my first council election. And I've heard party after party after party. I was with the party last night, Waveney Green Party, where someone lost out by 5 votes. And often these local elections, particularly when we haven't had a Green elected somewhere before, once we get a Green elected, people know that we can get elected and they tend to keep their seats. But when you're winning seats for the first time, often it's on a knife edge. Often it comes down to 5 votes. Some seats have been decided on a coin toss because they were neck and neck and they had to flip a coin. And that's what you do when it's equal. So every road that you leaflet, every door that you knock on could be the difference between winning and losing. And I absolutely mean that from the bottom of my heart. I can give you story after story after story. So I want to say that not to frighten you, but to say that every time you're going out or you're doing something in the background to support those who are going out, you are making a difference and you're bringing us that little bit closer to winning that council seat. So I know this is a tough time in the campaign because a lot of work's gone in and you're not quite on the home straight yet because we're a few weeks out. This is like it's like the Wednesday in the week. It's the hump day. You've got to get through it and then it will be downhill. And I want to say that to encourage you and to keep you going. And it will get easier now as we get to May the 6th because you will get momentum and you'll go on in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. And I'm wishing you the very, very best of luck from the bottom of my heart.